Alrighty, y'all. For this adjustable purse strap, what you're going to need is, you need quite a long piece of fabric for the actual strap. So I cut 2 here so that I can sew them together and get the length I need. And then you're going to need a smaller piece for the loop to put the hardware on. And this is the hardware that I'm using. I got this on eBay at a really good deal. I'll post a link in the description, but you're going to need 2 of these loops. And you will also need interfacing. You're going to need a piece for this piece. Okay, and you'll also need a piece for the loop you're going to create on the bag. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the measurements. So if you have skipped through, you'll be asking me that question, what are the measurements? And I'll be not answering it because it's right here. Okay, so for the strap pieces, they're going to kind of go off camera, but I'm going to give you the measurements that I did. And I'm using this cute kind of mean Valentine fabric that I got from My Fabric Designs. I love this fabric. This is cotton. This is not the stretchy. I also got this in a stretch knit, so if you saw my post on Facebook, don't mistake it for that. I'm using the cotton piece that I got. It's not knit. Okay, so anyway, I'm using 2 pieces that are 36 inches long, and they are about 4.5 inches wide. And we want that so that once we do the fold over, we can get the width. And that's the exact same thing with the interfacing. And what I'm going to do is sew these together in the way that I would if I were making bias tape, and it'll create one whole strap. I just didn't have even have the length of fabric that I could make it 2 yards long, so I just cut 2 separate pieces. And this piece is almost 9 inches long. That's a pretty good length, and it's the same as this one. It's about 4.5 inches wide, and the interfacing of course matches it. These are 1.5 inches. These pieces of hardware that I've got here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead off camera and press all of my interfacing onto the wrong sides of the fabric. These long pieces, you can see I've got them with the wrong sides facing out. That's just how I usually cut my fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and press the interfacing on, then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so you can see it's kind of long and it's hard to get in the frame here, but I've got the interfacing sewn on all 3 pieces, the 2 for the straps and the 1 for the loop. So I'm going to put the 1 for the loop aside. Now if you've ever made your own bias tape, you know that this is kind of what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ends of each piece. One piece is going to be on one end, the one's going to be in the other, and I'm going to lay them like this. Almost like they're square to each other on the ends. It forms kind of a, you know what I'm saying, right sides facing together. And what I'm going to do is starting from right here, sew at an angle all the way down to the other corner down here. Okay. So once you've got the piece sewn together, you can see it's all together like that. You can clip a little bit of this selvage on this side of it. You want to leave a decent enough piece so that you can fold it over and then press it. Okay, so now the next step is to get this piece ready and make it where it looks like a strap. And I'm not going to do a turn. I'm going to do a fold over press and then stitch a neat stitch along each edge. So that's what you're going to see me do. And I'm just going to, this will be based on this ring that you use here. You want to kind of use it as you go along as a guide. So I'm going to start on the end. And I'm just going to start pressing one end over and getting it ready, and then I can do the other end, and I'll just keep using this as a guide. So I'll do a speed up of that, and you guys will see me doing that. Okay, so now that I've got everything folded over the way I want it, and I've covered the selvage edges, and I've kind of gauged my little piece here that I'm going to put on it, I'm going to go ahead and sew a line down the middle to close this fold over, and then I'm going to do it on each side just to give it a more put together look. Now that I've got the strap ready, now what I want to do is go ahead and prepare this little loop piece. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the hardware as a measurement. And I'm just going to get it ready and sew it. And then I'm going to sew the hardware onto it. Okay, so now that we've got the loop piece ready, what we want to do is take the hardware, and this one, you can barely tell, but it's kind of curved, and that upper curve, or however you want to say it, is where you want it to be facing out, or at the top. So what I'm going to do is feed this loop piece through just like this. It's almost like you have a buckle, like if you're making a belt buckle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the loop closed right here at the bottom, and I'm also going to sew close to this top, as close as I can get without my machine bumping the hardware, because you don't want it sliding or trying to slide all the way down once you've attached it to the bag. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to get the rest of the strap ready. Okay, so now you see I've got this sewn on, and it's going to be really hard for the loop to go anywhere when you sew that up there. So that's kind of important, unless you want that dragging down when you've got it on the handbag. I would definitely do this top line here as close as you can get it. And so I know I'm going to get asked this question, and you can absolutely use webbing instead of fabric for this, but I just like using fabric. I have never even really bought webbing, whatever you call that. I don't think it's just called webbing, but it's like webbing ribbon or whatever it is. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I think it takes away from the look of a nice handmade bag. I don't know why, but anyway. Okay, so now I've got my strap end, and you can see this is the end that's going to be open. The other end is going to get closed up in the bag, so I didn't do it with that one. But with this one I did a zigzag. I went back and forth over it several times just to give it a neat finished edge, because I did not want to do a fold in and over, because I've got interfacing in here and it's really thick and it would, you know, just get bulky. So I just did that zigzag stitch. So now what I'm going to do is take the other piece of hardware and feed it through, and then we just want a little bit of it in here. We don't need miles and miles of this. We're attaching this is basically the reason for doing this. So I'm gonna take it to the machine, and I'm gonna make a square to attach it. And you can do the square with the X in the middle or however, but I don't recommend just doing lines because I think the square is going to hold it better and it's going to give it a neater look. Okay, so now you can see we've got this piece sewn onto the strap and it's nice and secure, and you do want to go over and back stitch, especially when you start and when you finish, and make sure that's on there good and secure. My little square with the X is a little wonky, but it's on there, and like I said, that part's pretty much going to be covered up, so you don't have to worry about that a whole lot. Okay, so now we need to attach the loop piece to the strap piece, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so I've got my loop piece, I've got my end of my strap here. What I want to do is make sure that I've got the wrong side of the strap going up, and we're just going to take it through one piece. Gonna have to really get out there so you guys can see this, because this is a long strap. So I'm taking this through the strap there. Here's my loop, if you guys can see that, and here's my strap. Now you see this is the bottom side, or where I sewed this hardware onto this one. Now I want to take this and feed it through here and then through here. And if this is done right, this is what you want it to do. You want it to be tight. You want it to be really hard to feed through there, because you don't want to just loosen it up on the bag. So I want to feed that through and make sure I've got plenty of give, or not plenty of give. I want to make sure that it's plenty out there. And now it is ready to sew on the bag. So you'll have the end with the loop on it to sew into the bag, and then you'll have the raw end of the strap and you will sew it into the bag, and this will be the right side up with this part of the hardware facing up. So if your strap is kind of like mine and it has sides to it, see where I did the fold overs on the inside, then you want to make sure your outside of the strap is on here. And that is it. And you see you've got a nice size strap that you can adjust, and it needs to be a tight fit, which I think I did a video of this a while back and I didn't put interfacing in here, and so it was really loose, and I had this huge strap that when you would put the bag over crossbody, the strap would just loosen up, and so you'd had it when my daughter Twisty put it on, it went down to her ankles. So she's short anyway, but don't tell her I told you. But anyway, that's how you do it. And now I'm going to get the bag ready, and that's going to be in a separate video if you want to see the bag that matches the strap. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.